What's happening? Hope you guys are doing good. Ohio 82, welcome. Let's see, it says I have an excellent connection. So, I'm hoping that I have an excellent connection. So, I have some fun things to show you tonight and some scary things. I think we'll save the scary for later. Let's see here. First of all, Greta again asked if she could come on the channel, and she's upset. She's upset. So let's get her out of the way here.
Earth is flat, silly globehead. It doesn't rotate either. You are just making that up. Look down at the ground right now. I said look. Do you think it is rotating? Does it have an axis? Of course not. A 2-year-old child is more capable of understanding reality than you.
How dare you!
Learn about Flat Earth by subscribing to Effed Up World on YouTube. This message will self-destruct in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's flat, Simandan. Thanks for sticking up for my channel, though. Just kidding. Okay. Do you guys want to learn? You know what I almost titled this video? I'll just tell you. I can't remember exactly. It was about Enoch. Enoch saw he saw what caused the sky to roll up like a scroll and the stars fall and all that stuff. Enoch reveals to anyone who can hear him specifically what ends up making the stars come down to the ground. Hello, Lori and Anthony. Good to see you guys. Welcome. He saw what made the heavens shake, and he told us about it. And it's like kind of hard to, get in the right frame of mind to realize that something written so long ago could be specifically talking about today, or like 2020 or 2018. Or whatever. Sorry, I have a cat trying to do something here. Can't tell if he's ready to go to bed or if he's ready to go outside. This cat is demanding. It's kind of scratchy and bitey. We named him Scratchy Bob. Or it's actually a her, so it's Bobby. But Scratchy Bob just came up here to hang out. And what she does, she don't have a tail. She's kind of like a bobcat. And she's really scratchy. When you pick her up, her claws go in. Like, she's got claws. But, so she's kind of wild, too. Like, she just showed up at the house one time. And she's been here for about at least 6 or 7 years. But she's not like a normal cat. I just have to share this little story. It's not like a normal cat at all. At all. She purrs. Sometimes she purrs, and she's friendly. Like, she'll walk up to you and kind of hang out for just a second, though. She only sticks around for a second. But if you know her at home, what she does is it depends on the weather. If it's cold out, she's not outside as much. But in the summer, she barely comes inside at all. She comes in and runs to her food, eats it, and then tears up, get me out of here. And so she's outside all the time. And when she gets tired, she will come in here and like try to find a hiding spot. Lately, since the other cat passed away, she's been much more at home inside, I can tell. So now she'll sleep on the back of the couch. She never would before. But so yeah, interesting. Cats are interesting. and she still is not decided. She laid down for a minute, and now she's got back up. And I'm always got my eye on her because she knows how to, if she wants to go out, she knows how to get me to jump. She'll just start scratching on the couch or something like this. Yeah, Lori. Hey, Carta Astral Connie, good to see you. Anthony says, wanted to swing in and say hello. Pretty busy at the moment, but hopefully I can wrap it up quickly and be back. Yeah, that'd be great. Good to see you all. Awesome. Lori's finding this too. The Book of Enoch has filled many gaps for me this past year or so. Totally. I'm in the same boat. And so actually, we'll do the desktop right now. I was just going to show you. I'm in the Book of Enoch, chapter 6. And I just was realizing something. And maybe we can even do a search. Oh, what a joke this stuff is. Maybe we can do a search. I just want to see if YouTube comes up with something. Whoops. Ugh. On, what would it be called? Foundry? SpaceX has, SpaceX and Tesla, they have, like metal foundries. They make alloys and things. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything about that. Not really. Actually, hold on a minute. I might know of an interview, but I probably can't play it on here. I don't want to take a chance. Everyday Astronaut interviewed Elon Musk about a year ago, I think. And he might have been talking about this a little bit. But we've advanced in our technology, right? Hey, Roderick, good to see you. Icy, Oklahoma. We've advanced in our technology. And actually, I got to put a shout out to Paul Begley, believe it or not. Paul Begley, it kind of impressed me the other day, just with some of the things he was saying about the asteroid Bennu and all this stuff. And maybe, I can't remember what the video was titled, but it was Paul Begley. You know who I'm talking about. Are you serious? Are you serious? That guy's hilarious. But usually he's like all mainstream, whatever. But he was talking about, he saw this. Actually, we're going to go and we're going to watch, because I know he wouldn't give me a strike. I'm going to skip around in his video that I watched. I'm going to skip around in there and find out something very cool that he was saying that I totally agree with. Now, I don't agree with hardly anything that he says, probably, because he's believing in planets and all this stuff. But which one was it? Oh, I suppose I'll have to just go to his channel, maybe? Yeah, I'll go to his channel. Sorry. Videos. It was just like 2 days ago or something. Mothership seen over Hawaii. This guy's hilarious. But I when someone says something, I gotta check it out. Oh yeah, I should have seen it. It's right there. Okay. I watched this whole video. And I liked it too. You see that? I get a kick out of him. He's hilarious, guys. Are you serious? He already put it in the chat.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, it happened.
Okay, I just had to hear that part because Paul Begley he says that like almost every video, I think. Okay, so let's go maybe back here. He talks about men climbing into heaven at the end of the world. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the Bible says, and nobody realizes that. Like even Adam Fink over at Parable of the Vineyard, I've tried talking to him about this before, and he's just like, no, nobody's going up there. And I'm like, but Ezekiel saw them up there. Enoch saw them up there. John and Daniel saw things going up there. Dragons going up there. But here, let me just try to skip around and find it here.
Been seen or heard of before. It's very possible. So what does this all mean? Was this prophesied to happen?
Yes.
The answer is yes. It was prophesied that in the end times, in the last days,
Listen, guys.
these events would happen, and I want to share that with you right now. This is why it's so important to stay on top of the current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. But it says in Amos chapter 9.
I love this because everyone calls me crazy and calls me, you're way off, man. And they like, a lot of times people even say, are you serious? Or are you joking? And I'm like, it's just what it says in the Bible. Okay.
I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the post may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Verse 2, though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Mount Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. In other words,
Do you guys realize what that is saying? Okay, I don't think Paul realizes the bottom of the sea is darkness. You know, the darkness that was upon the face of the deep in biblical cosmology? Oh, the cat is getting my attention. I don't want to miss what Paul's saying, so Bobby, stop it. It's a false alarm because she's just trying to get my attention. Come here. Come here, buddy. You don't want to play like scratchy with this cat and like hide your hand because she's too fast. She'll just get your hand and it hurts. Yeah, she's gonna fall asleep over there. I could tell she's all tired. Okay. Anyway, I'll try to ignore it. Bobby, stop it. I'll throw something at her. Stop it. A bookmark. Play with that bookmark. We'll see how long that lasts. Sorry guys. But climb up, though they climb up into heaven, I will bring them down. Very interesting. Sorry about that little, I might have to let my cat out here.
words, I will command Leviathan to bite them.
He's talking about Leviathan, who I have a video about Leviathan. And welcome everyone, by the way. I will play it again. Thank you, Lori. That's a good idea. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back about a minute or so. I'm going to just hit play, and I'm going to go let my cat out, and I'll be right back.
Chapter 9. I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the post may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Verse 2, though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Mount Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. In other words, I will command Leviathan to bite them, and he will. What God is saying here, in the end times, when the Lord stands upon the altar in heaven, It doesn't matter if man is living in secret cities under the ground. God says, my hand shall go reach down and take them.
I like this about Paul Begley. And now it isn't about Paul Begley or anything like that. I was just impressed that he's got this discernment, because this should be something that we all understand about the Bible. I can share, okay, the Book of Enoch, some people don't consider that to be the Bible. Okay, that's fine. But in the 66 books of the King James Bible, there's several places where men climb up to heaven in the end. I'll show you one right now. Ezekiel 7. I don't know exactly which chapter it is right here, but we'll find it. Actually, we're going to go to Bible Hub because I like that lately. Because it's just so convenient to look up the Hebrew words or the Greek, depending on. Okay, let's go. Okay. I don't want to read this whole thing because I really actually wanted to focus on what Enoch saw up in the heavens. But I do also have, because I want people to understand that if the Bible had an ending, or if the world had an ending, and it was written about in the Bible, it's happening right now. I don't know how long the ending takes, but it's happening right now. Let me just go down here. The desolation of Israel. Right here. Here's where men climb up into heaven. And it's God. It's thus saith the Lord here that Ezekiel's... let me just find where to start. I'll just start in verse 20. As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. Therefore have I set it far from them, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil. The wicked of the earth for a spoil. And they shall pollute it. It doesn't say what they're going to pollute, but it does now. My face will I also turn from, or will I turn also from them. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place. For the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. What's his secret place? Let's just go here. This is important because it, where is it here? Look what it says right here. In verse 11 in Psalm chapter 18. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters. Remember Paul said Leviathan in the deep sea or whatever, and thick clouds of the skies, guys. Dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Okay, God's in the sky, and his temple's in the sky. His sanctuary, his holy city, New Jerusalem, Mount Zion. That's up in the sky. Like literally. I'm not saying it's like physical like the earth is, but it's literally up in the sky. For sure. I guess there's two aspects to it, because Paul told us that we are the temple of God. So there's that's obviously true. We are the temple of God. And so there's that aspect of it. But where's the temple of God all throughout time until the very end, when it comes down out of where? Out of heaven from God. And that's when people become pillars in the temple of God. And it's like it's built without hands, this temple. So a lot of people are talking about like a temple in Jerusalem or something, or in Israel or whatever. It isn't talking about that, because the New Jerusalem is actually in heaven, and it comes down, and I believe it's coming down right now and has been for 5 years. And it's not built with hands. Remember that. It's not built out of bricks. It's in the spirit, if that is understandable. Hello, Moki Flat Earth. And wow, there's a lot of people in here. Buy my records. Lavandra Unicorn. Hello. Science works in mysterious ways. Cool. Welcome. And I think I made it up to the top there. Let's see. I'm good at skipping accidentally, so hopefully I don't. I just want to say hi to everyone that's here. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. Okay. So he made darkness his secret place. So that's just one place where it's in Ezekiel 7, where he says they're going to climb into the darkness, into his secret place. And that's what NASA and SpaceX do, right? Now here, check this out. Where was this? Is this one or next one? Let me see. Oh yeah, this is great. I have to read this, then we'll go to Enoch. But I just want to show you that there is a temple up in the sky, okay? And Ezekiel chapter 8, Ezekiel goes there and describes it a little bit. So what I'm saying is, I guess this would come down to if you believe Ezekiel or not. I believe him. I believe he experienced this thing that we're going to read right now. And it came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in mine house, and the elders of Judah sat before me, that the hand of the Lord God fell there upon me. Then I beheld, okay, pay attention to these words. He's looking at something. I beheld, and lo, a likeness as the appearance of fire. So it's a likeness as the appearance of fire. From the appearance of his loins even downward, fire. And from his loins even upward, as the appearance of brightness, as the color of amber. Can you guys get a mental picture of that? It reminds me of someone that always shows up in the Bible, the Word of God, or the Son of Man, or that's who I think this is. But it says, and he put forth the form of an hand, and took me by the lock of mine head, and the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven. He's up in the sky now, okay? And brought me in the visions of God to where? Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looketh toward the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoketh to jealousy. I think I know what that image is, by the way. I think it's a spinning ball. Spinning water ball that doesn't exist. And behold, the glory of the God of Israel was there. See? He's up in the sky, guys. According to Ezekiel, he's up in the sky. According to the vision that I saw in the plain. So he's in the plain. Good. Then he said unto me, Son of man, lift up thine eyes now away toward the north. Okay, so he shows him all these things. Look at what he's even talking about his sanctuary. And this is where satellites comes into this. And I know the Flat Earth crew thinks that satellites are balloons. But I'm here to tell you that you need to learn about, more, you need to research more about the aerospace industry and about rockets and about what they're actually doing. Rather than just saying, oh, that's fake. Because I'll tell you here right now, if you believe what it says, what Paul wrote to the Ephesians, then you're not worried about NASA lying to you. People at NASA are not lying to you. There's no elite lying to you. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says we don't struggle against flesh and blood. We're not against the men on earth here. Yeah, there's wicked men, there's evil men, there's men that serve the father of lies. I'm not saying there's not. I'm saying that those men believe what they're doing. NASA believes what they're doing. And so when they land on the moon, it's a very complicated thing that I'm thinking of. It's specifically sent whatever success they believe that they had on the moon. That's a strong delusion. And when God says strong delusion, God will send them strong delusion. I think strong means strong. Because I believe that all the people at NASA, they really think that they're doing these things. They really think that they're going these places. And same with SpaceX. Now here's one that this is like kind of tough, because I'm not trying to rip on flat earthers. I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but I'm basically saying you're wrong about satellites. And you can prove it to yourself by looking out at the night sky. Looking out at the night sky. You never do that anymore if you're a flat earther. It's like you don't want to look up there because all those lights moving around up there on schedules seem to get in the way of your belief. But I'm here to tell you that they don't at all. Satellites are moving at 17,000 miles an hour above the Earth, along with the space station. People are like, oh, you're a shill. No. You got to listen to what I'm saying if you have that, if you feel that way. You have to listen to what I'm saying. In the Bible, in Genesis 1, verse 2, there's a place mentioned that today we call space. In the second verse of your Bible, space is in the second verse in your Bible. And there was darkness upon the face of the deep. This is a literal darkness because this is the creation story. So, darkness was upon the face of the deep. And that word deep is also, it's like a deep sea or an abyss. So there's an abyss of darkness upon the face of the deep. And then in Job, it says that the face of the deep is frozen. So let's just think about our world. Is there a place in our world that seems to be frozen? Like a big, who knows what it looks like, but it would probably be a big surface of something, like the face of something. And then maybe God created a sun, moon, and stars, and they melted some of that ice. Just think about it. And the sun goes in a circuit, and so there would be a circle that's melted out. Okay? But there's darkness upon the face of that. There's darkness above the earth, guys. Just as the night sky. I just did a live stream tonight of the moon before I went live here, or on this one, and there was darkness in the sky. Literal darkness. NASA calls it dark matter, but it's dark waters. So anyway, Ezekiel went up to New Jerusalem in the sky, and God was there, and he saw the temple there, he saw the altar there, he saw a lot of things. He brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, Okay, this is a real place to Ezekiel anyway. This was a real place that he was at. And God's showing him abominations that the house of Israel is doing. I think it's the house of Israel. Or maybe it's just the people. I couldn't say. Anyway, he's warning. He's given Ezekiel to warn these people. And what were they doing? They had their backs toward the temple of the Lord and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun toward the east. Heliocentrism. We've been born into a deceived generation. And now it's time to come out of it because Jesus has been revealing the truth to us in his word. That's why I'm learning all these cool things that I didn't know before. Now, I think what happens here is this reminds me of some of the other scenes that we see in the Bible, like in the book of Revelation. Let me just read, starting in Ezekiel 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, I'll just start one sentence in front of that. He called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry. So they're sighing and crying for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Where's Jerusalem, guys? It would apparently be in the sky, right? And what are all these abominations that are done in the midst of Jerusalem? And there actually is a group of people that are sighing and crying for all those abominations. We're pointing them out. And that's what I'm doing right now in this video. I'm pointing out that SpaceX is putting that was back in Ezekiel 7, right? They made the images of their abomination. Okay, right here. Verse 20, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. They shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. So here's my kind of like, not suggestion, but just the thing I want to point out is if you are a believer in the Bible, and when someone can put scripture up on the screen and read it along with you and point something out that's undeniable, then is it a choice to make whether you think that's what it's talking about? Okay, when God says that they're going to pollute his secret place and the robbers are going to enter into it and defile it, is it really so hard to think that rockets go into outer darkness, that they go into that abyss that's above the earth, that abyss of darkness? Let me show you another place where in the Bible where it really talks about this imprisonment of these things that we were told are called planets. Okay. Look at verse 13. Okay. See, here we go again with the sea. These dark waters that are above the earth. Okay. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. That's the night sky. Because God made he said, let there be light, and there was light, and he divided, let's go there. I don't want to read it or say it wrong. Because it's like very basic stuff. If we're actually listening to what it says, it makes so much sense. Like if you look at that flat earth model, that's kind of like, hey Anthony, good to see you back. If you look at the flat earth model, or any of them really, they have the ice wall around the outside. So have you ever been to an ice skating pond or something? And what would happen if you had, say, a torch, or you had a really hot light bulb, and you started circling that light bulb over that ice rink, just like making it go around just above it, you know? So it would heat it. Wouldn't it eventually make a circular shaped puddle of water? That's kind of what I think happened in the beginning. I mean, I'm not saying I understand it or something. I'm just saying the face of the deep is frozen. So the face of that abyss is like frozen. And this all happens, the earth part and all the light for the earth is when he said, let there be light. And then when he created the two great lights and the stars, that made it so light would go onto the earth, because there's darkness upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God is moving above that darkness. That's where God's throne is above that darkness. That darkness is his secret place. And at the bottom of that darkness, there's a prison. And we can go over that in the book of Enoch. It gets very clear about that. But in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. I'm going to look at the Hebrew here because it gives us a little bit of insight. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Because remember, they're dark waters. And thick clouds of the skies. Okay, so let's go to this button, Hebrew, and just look at some of these words. And the earth was formless and void, and darkness. Let's look at that word. Koshek, looks like. Darkness, obscurity. I always like to go down to Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. Okay, so it's darkness, night. Night. Obscurity, from Chase Shack, I guess. The dark, hence literally darkness, figuratively misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness. Darkness, night, obscurity. Okay, you guys get the point. You know what darkness is. There's two kinds of darkness, basically. There's like the evil kind, and then there's just the literal kind. Like if you go in the closet and turn out the light, that's darkness. You have to have a light, otherwise it's darkness. If there's no light, it's darkness, right? And then, of course, there's in between when the light's far away or whatever. Okay, so the darkness was over, and I think that means above also. Upon, above, over. Okay? There was darkness. I'm just kind of going over this the way I study these things. I look at the word and I want to make sure that I understand what it's saying. Okay, so that was above or over, upon the face of the deep. So when I look at this word, deep, sea, abyss. Okay? And we already know that it's darkness. So there's darkness upon the face of that abyss. And that it happens to be dark waters because it says in the next part of the verse, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. So there. I just want you guys to understand why I'm saying some of these things. Anthony's got a question here. He says, science junk, but do we possibly have air pressure due to the water above pressing down on the firmament, causing pressure in and out atmosphere? Could be. I'm not sure. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, like, almost like the air, the gradient of the, that, you know, how the air gets thin as you go up. Maybe it's, yeah, I mean, I know the pressure changes too, barometric pressure and everything. But I do know this, that at some point, when the air stops being there, that's not the earth anymore. If there's no air, it's not the earth. And I learned that from Enoch chapter 18, because he said he saw the treasuries of the winds, and God furnished the entire creation with the four winds. And they are the foundations of the earth, and they are the pillars of the heaven, and they bear the earth and the heaven. So basically, when you go above the air, you're in the celestial realm. It's not the earth. It's not physical material the same way at all. That's a good thing to think about. Hey, Cindy Lou, good to see you. And Karen Ann Preston, good to see you. Awesome. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to say, you're wrong. I'm trying to say that something huge is happening in this world. And I think that the people that believe flat earth, they understand that something big is happening, yet they seem so short minded when it comes to, why are some of these things happening? Why is truth being revealed? And when I say truth, I'm not talking about Torah. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about one specific truth: the shape of the earth. Why would it be that? Why are people talking about that? Why would that be important? It's important because none of us lived in the place that Jesus declared. We were deceived into living somewhere else that had a universe of planets and all this heliocentric garbage that's actually like sun worship, and it's an abomination to God. Heliocentrism is an abomination. I mean, we just read it. Ezekiel, was it 9 or 8? It was 8. He saw 25 men. They were facing the east, worshiping the sun. Yet they were standing like in the entryway of the temple of God. Just think about that. It says in Revelation 11 that the Gentiles would tread underfoot the temple of God for 42 months. And same with Daniel's vision, they would take away the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and the sanctuary for 2,300 days they would have dominion of the host of heaven, of the sanctuary, and they would tread it underfoot for 2,300 days, and then it would be cleansed. So I don't really know, the times and the timing and all that. I don't understand that. But what I'm saying is that if it says in Revelation 11 that New Jerusalem, the temple of God, is going to be trodden underfoot, what does that mean? It's very simple what it means. It means, I don't know if it's symbolic or whatever, but what it's saying is that the temple of God, which is up in the sky, is going to be tread underfoot. And that's kind of what Paul Begley was saying, is that they're going to climb into heaven. And that's Amos, that was in Amos chapter 9, I think. Though they climb up to heaven. And that's also in Obadiah. Let me look that one up. Obadiah 1. It says basically the same thing. In verse 4, I think. I'm going to go to Bible Gateway. Or Bible Hub. A lot of times when I go here, I'm just learning that when I go to Bible Hub, I learn more. Because these buttons right up here are so convenient. We have such awesome resources these days. Look at all these versions you can read, all these translations or whatever you can read through. Let's go to verse 3, I think, or 4. Okay, I like to read the King James Bible. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. Look at that, you guys. Whose habitation is high. NASA, SpaceX. That saith in his heart, who shall bring me to the ground? So, where's the ground? And where is a high habitation? Just think about these things. I have another one for you after this that should make you think too about Lucifer. And then we're going to get into Enoch, I promise. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Look at that. Who's doing that? They've got a space station up there? Oh, cool, Anthony. You have to let me know what you think. 515 BC. That's cool. Anthony got a Targum in the mail today or whatever. Okay, so thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. And there's another place. I'm just, whoops. Whoa, I'm doing the unplug my headphones thing and knock the mic on the floor. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just thinking of these in John chapter 10. Jesus basically said this. He kind of said it in a parable, I guess, but maybe that's not the right word, but verily, this is Jesus. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. And that's exactly what God said. He said, the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Okay? But he that entereth in by the door of the shepherd is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable spake Jesus unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. So he tries again. Then Jesus said unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Like a wolf, guys. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. This is what Jesus did. Okay, we're finally going to make it to the book of Enoch, chapter 6. Because I was talking about alloys and different kinds of metals and different... Like, you wouldn't believe some of the... I guess the extent that the technology goes in, like, with foundries and how they make all metals and then even like some of the 3D printing things they're doing. Some of this stuff is crazy. 3D printing rocket thrusters or whatever. Rocket, I guess it would be a rocket engine. 3D printing them. That's what SpaceX is doing for their Super Dracos. Do you guys want to know what Super Dracos are? Let's find out what Super Dracos. Oh, look at that. It just said 3D print. Let's read about them first. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about is being taught to men by fallen angels. And we're going to read about that in Enoch chapter 6. Okay, look at this. A red dragon. Whoa. Do you guys see that little horn? I'm here to tell you that John saw that too, and he warned us all about it. He said it was Satan. Red dragon. Going to Mars. Okay, Super Dracos. Super Draco is a hypergolic propellant liquid rocket engine designed and built by SpaceX. It is a part of SpaceX Draco family of rocket engines. A redundant array of 8 Super Draco engines provides full tolerant propulsion for use as a launch escape system for the SpaceX Dragon 2, or Red Dragon, passenger carrying space capsule. Super Draco rocket engines utilize a storable, non-cryogenic hypergolic propellant, which allows the engines to be fired many months after fueling and launch. So they just basically they make these super strong pressurized spherical fuel tanks, and they put fuel in there with a bunch of pressure, and it just sits there like that without leaking. And then when they want to fire them, they just fire them. It doesn't matter. It can sit there for months. Okay, it's pretty crazy. But let's just look at a picture of one, I guess. Okay, so that's 3D printed, you guys. That's insane. I mean, I'm sure that's all. It's not, the whole thing isn't like one chunk 3D printed. See over on the right here? This is one of the fuel cells. They're made, I forget what it's called. What is that called? Carbon fiber or something like that. Hey, Growler Thunder, good to see you. Awesome. AJ Blunt, what's a happening? So these are things that are real in this world, you guys, and I know it's so easy to default to the space is fake. They're lying, but I'm here to tell you that they are not lying. Let me just verify that. Whoops. Ephesians 6. We're gonna look at this because this verse is a very well known verse, but I don't think people really analyze what it actually says. So we're going to Bible Hub. We're going to actually look at the Greek, and it gives us a little bit more insight, probably. Okay, verse 12 is the one I'm talking about. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. You and I and the Rockefellers and George Soros are all flesh and blood, guys. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood, okay? I believe what Paul said here, and I think it's very important to at least consider what he's actually saying. Okay, so we don't struggle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of what? The darkness of this world? Who are the rulers of the darkness of this world? Well, first of all, where's the darkness of this world? And we'll look at the Greek because it tells us very clearly against spiritual wickedness in high places. So when I was younger, I used to think what that meant is powerful people, wicked, spiritual wickedness in that powerful people carried with them or something. Like George Soros or whatever, whoever, Bill Gates or whatever. But that's not at all what the problem is. And I learned that from Enoch. And I think it's very important that everyone at least consider thinking about this differently. Let's look what it says in the Greek because it's very clear in the Greek, okay? Whoops. I clicked something wrong. Okay. I'll just read it in the order that they have it here. Because not is to us the wrestling against blood and flesh, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers. What does that mean? What is cosmic powers? Cosmocrator? A ruler of this world. Okay. I'll see what it says. Usage. Ruler of this world, that is, of the world as asserting its independence of God. Used of the angelic or demonic powers controlling the sublunary world. It's not men. Yes, men serve them, but hear me out. Ruler, okay? A world ruler. Okay. Now watch. We could say Donald Trump and whoever. George Bush and all these people. We could say they're world rulers. But that's not what this kind of ruler is. This is a cosmic ruler, cosmic power. And look where it's from. Of the darkness. This is going to be that same word. Darkness, either physical or moral. Okay, there's the figurative and the literal darkness. So it doesn't really say which darkness it's talking about. But hold on. It gets better. This is right here what it says. Against the spiritual forces. Let's see what that says. Spiritual. Spiritual. Spiritual, 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 non-carnal, a spirit, concretely or divinely supernatural, regenerate, religious, spiritual. So there's a lot of ways that could be used. But look what it says. Spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And Enoch agrees with this, you guys. So this is saying that down here on the earth, okay, there are evil spirits down here on the earth. But what this is saying is that that's, okay, if in the book of Enoch, we learn that they torment men, and that's what they're here to do, the spirits of the giants that used to be here. But that's another aspect, and we'll learn about that in the book of Enoch, chapter 14 or 15, I think. But in the sky, there's a place of darkness. And I go over that all the time. And what I want to do is I want to talk about how these angels are causing men to create this technology. Because if you think about it, and I know Growler Thunder knows all about it. He knows a lot about aerospace and its history. And if you look at the amount of time that we've been in the sky, it's just over 100 years. So although it might not seem very surprising when Enoch sees men riding on wagons up in the sky, for the last 100 years that seemed like, well, that's not a big deal. But before that, it was like, yeah, we don't see men up in the sky, ever. Men don't go up in the sky. Until about 100 years ago. And then they did. They became like birds. So just think about that. The last 100 years, there's been a lot of people born thinking that it's normal to be up in the sky in commercial airlines and to be up there in space and all these things. But that's only 100 years old. Before that, it was unthought of. It was a fairy tale. It was like, yeah, someday men will be able to fly. Someday we'll have a machine that can fly, or we'll be something, you know. I can only imagine what that would be like. You just don't go up there. There is no way to get up there. You can climb a tree, you can climb a mountain, but you can't go any higher than that. You can't, but now we do. Growler says, no idea why it was removed. It was, that was, right when I went to read that, I read Anthony's comment. Sorry, guys. That's right. Look at Lockmart, Skunkworks, Northrop Grumman, Plant 42, Palmate. Thanks, bro, for sure. And yeah, on that note, you know, there was no shipping going in the air. Just think how many things, there's UPS planes, FedEx planes. Think how many things are actually moving up in the air from this place to that place to this place to that place. I don't think God minds when we do it in the earth. Like a jet has to have wings because it's in the air. It's still in the air. But what they want to do is they want to go higher and higher. Well, that's what Lucifer wants to do. He wants, it says in Isaiah 14 that he has it in his heart to ascend into heaven. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. That's going up to the sky because God's up there, right? So Lucifer wants us to think that he's up there, or that maybe we're up there. Just the same as the Tower of Babel. In Jasher 9 or Genesis 11, they built a tower. Let us go bake bricks and break them thoroughly. Well, now they say, let us go bake, you know, what do they call those? The things on the bottom of the shuttle. You know, I forget what they're called. Like the pieces that they oblate the re-entry, the 5,000 degree temperatures during re-entry. Tiles, I forget what they're called. Some kind of tiles. But these kinds of trickery, it's like wizardry. It's actually a perfect example of wizardry. I just want to look up that word, make sure I'm not in error. Yeah, right here. Very impressive or ingenious technology or devices. Look at that. Merlin used his powers of wizardry for good. The engine on the Falcon 9 is called a Merlin engine. That's funny. Okay, so what happened when these fallen angels came down, we're going to read about that right now in the book of Enoch. And it's like, I just love this subject because I learn so much when I'm reading this stuff. It's like this stuff's happening a second time, and we can watch it in our world. We can watch these people playing with these metals and learning these secrets and learning all these evil things. But in our world, it's, oh yeah, it's not evil. We're exploring. It's like patriotic. Well, careful. Okay, Enoch. Chapter 6, this is the Charles version. I forget what it is. It's R.H. Charles or something. Okay, and it's titled here, The Fall of the Angels, the Demoralization of Mankind, the Intercession of the Angels on behalf of mankind, the dooms pronounced by God on the angels. That's scary. The Messianic Kingdom, a Noah fragment. Okay, chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of the great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swore they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. I've heard another version says they bound each other with curses. I don't really know exactly what that means, but somehow they did that. And they were all 200, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they call it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual, I can't speak today, mutual imprecations upon it. Okay, you guys, I don't know if I'm even going to try this. And these are the names of their leaders. Semyazzaz, their leader, Arakiba, Ramiel, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakajel, Esiel, Armoros, Batarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsapil, Saturel, Turel, Jamjael, Sariel. Man, you weirdo angels got some weird names. These are their chiefs of tens, okay? Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them and defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men, And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them. That is right there what I'm talking about, you guys. That's happening today in aerospace. I know Growler knows exactly what I'm talking about. We're watching these men being taught. Let me see if I can find a video of SpaceX. There's our buddy Paul Begley. SpaceX factory. We can watch some of these things being made. Let's see. This is 4 years ago. We could click through that. See, there's a lot of stuff going on that it's kind of scary to me that the flat earthers are just saying, oh, this is fake. But because I guess we'll just look at this. I got to be careful where I... Okay, SpaceX won't give me a... they won't give me a strike. This is a tour with Elon Musk or whatever. I just want to show you when they go to the...
So what we're looking at over there, that's a quarter section of the Falcon 9.
That's part of the fairing. Okay, here's... I just want to show you some of the CNCs running, that they have running, cutting these metals out.
Second stage bulge former. So that's a classic bulge forming tool that's used to take two welded cones of a typical refractory alloy metal like chromium hafnium alloy, and bulging it to a round contour, which is the optimized contour for maximizing the efficiency of rocket thrust. This cleaner here is also climate controlled, particularly controlled, and it's currently used for propulsion components, as well as temporarily it's used to do composite layout. So 4, and then the Flight 5 unit is right there behind it, with obviously not much stuff done on it yet. So this is a...
So I'm just, that wasn't the video really that I was looking for.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm just gonna kill the sound, sorry guys. Okay, so this is like a tour of the launch site. Look how young he is there. This 9 years ago, I guess, 2010. He does say something super funny, I think, if I remember. I think right about here or something. We gotta check it out.
Here we are on top of our giant ball of liquid oxygen. They say SpaceX has big balls, and it's true.
Ha 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 ha. I had to play that. Okay, do you guys... Oh, I wish I could play this. A conversation with Elon Musk about Starship, because he talks about this working these metals. Like they have... He said something like, if God himself was, basically if it was perfect, it's like it would be only like 1% better than they are right now, efficiency wise, for getting thrust with their Raptor engine. Just they've fine-tuned everything that they can. Like the physical reality won't allow much at all more. And he actually said 1%. If it was perfect, if it was like fully efficient for everything. Hey, Eyesight, good to see you. But this is boring. Let's go back to this really quick. Okay, Azazel, you guys, this is the one. Okay, he taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Semyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings, Armoros the resolving of enchantments, Barakajal taught astrology, Kokabel the constellations, Ezekiel the knowledge of the clouds, Arakiel the signs of the earth, and Shamsiel the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitants cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Semyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, who have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth thereby has been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying, and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended, and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest all things, and thou dost suffer them, and thou dost not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching. Okay, so this is what kind of initiated the flood. He says that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole world. So he basically delivered to Noah a message, Uriel did, or to the son of Lamech, and now listen to what it says here, what he says to Raphael. This is good stuff, guys. So Noah's going to escape and be preserved for the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into where? The darkness. You guys realize what the darkness is now? It's not it's not being used in any other figurative way or anything. This is literal. This is literal darkness. And I'm going to kind of explain it the way that I explained it to myself. When I go into the closet and I turn off the light and it's complete darkness, there's nothing evil about that, okay? But it is darkness. It is a real thing. And I know we don't tend to think of it as a place or a thing, but it really is, though. Because, like at nighttime, when you go outside, between you and the stars that you see, what is there? Nothing. There's just darkness. There's no light, except for what the stars or the moon or whatever is putting off, but it's darkness. And so I'm not saying that that's all evil. I'm just saying that in that darkness there is spiritual powers that draw the hearts of men. And we can see this playing out in our world because people want to go to Mars. People want to go to the moon. People want to... We spend $400 billion a year trying to go to the moon and to Mars. Okay, that's called serving the host of heaven and the stars, and it's an abomination to God. Because God's in those heavens above. Let me open up just one of my favorite verses when talking about this subject. I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Deuteronomy 4. I think it's verse 39. It says, like, it's awesome what it says right here. Okay. I think it's 39. Yes. Okay. This is what I want you to understand today. This is what anybody listening, this verse is what I want you to do, and I'm going to do it myself because I do it every day and I'm learning, okay? Verse 39 says, "Know therefore this day and consider it in thine heart that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath there is none else." So, where is he? He's in heaven above. Okay? And his spirit, his Holy Spirit, or his Spirit of truth, proceeds from where he is in heaven above and dwells in the hearts of men, or dwells in men. And we're the temple of God in that manner. So yeah. Sorry I'm not keeping up with the chat, guys. I'm actually, like, I really want people to understand, like, if I was going to be talking to the flat earthers, because I'm a flat earther, but I also know that what SpaceX does is not fake. But how can I be a flat earther? Because SpaceX is deceived. They think that there's an orbit around a globe, but there's not. What do you mean there's not? We have satellites up there. Yeah. Think about it. If you believe what the Bible says, you believe that all those stars up there. Let me get a. I think I have a video I just want to have going in the background here to kind of show you. I have to actually grab it. I think. Yeah, I do. But that's okay. I'll take just a minute. How long does it take for a day to go by? For the sun to do a full circle, it takes 24 hours, right? Because every day is 24 hours. Sorry, I'm not sure which... I'm waiting for my computer. While I'm waiting, 24 hours is how long we have a day. And so what's happening? They want to tell you that the Earth's spinning around once. Well, that's not happening. The sun is moving from one side of the sky to the other for the part of the day that you can see it, and then it's dark for the rest of the part, right? Well, the sun goes forth. I mean, like in the Bible, the sun goes forth and on a circuit. So the sun's actually the part that's moving. So now, if the sun was going to do a big, huge circuit around the whole Earth, wouldn't that, like, be moving pretty fast? It would. And I'm sorry that I can't get this. I'm going to have to cancel on that. It's not letting me, my program isn't letting me do what I want to do. But I'm just going to play this in the background. I want to show you, I got to find a specific part in this video, just to show you what the stars are doing at night. And then we have to think about, okay, you see that? That's a time lapse. Okay, you see all those things moving. So what would happen if you went up there and weren't moving? Satellites go fast. They have to. Because they're flying on the wings of the angels, or the path of the angels, I mean. Yeah, you guys make sure that you go over to Beck from Oz channel where Growler Thunder and Beck from Oz, they do, I don't know if it's a weekly or a bi-weekly. You guys do good live streams. And it's great over there. So make sure you're subscribed. You guys should actually, everyone that feels like it, put your links to your channels, and everyone should like subscribe to other channels, and because it's great to, I mean, I'm not even subscribed to enough channels. I'm not. I always, every time I go in, and a lot of times I'm like talking to someone and I'm assuming that I'm subscribed to them and I'm not. And I'm like, whoa. Oh, wow, Anthony. Yes, Paul Levi, biblical cosmology is the truth. And it makes sense. It does. Twice a week. Okay. Growler says twice a week. That's crazy, Anthony. But yeah, I just, okay. Let me just, okay, if these stars are going in a full circle in 24 hours, then the ones that are further away from the North Star, they are moving fast. Very fast. I don't know how fast. But apparently, in order to escape the Earth's gravity, that's what NASA would say, but in order to in order to climb into the darkness, which probably starts at about the Kármán line, because that's where the air kind of stops. If you go into that darkness, I think it's the Apocalypse of Abraham called it the air of the underworld. So yeah, I lost my train of thought for a minute there. Let's see here. So we were, all right, I got a video to play. Oh, do you remember that Daniel saw a beast and it had great iron teeth? Oh, look at this. And that was one of the beasts that arises out of the earth. One of the kings that arises out of the earth. Just saying. So anyway, the sky is like, there's a lot happening in the sky. And I'm just trying to find the video that I was going to play. I know it's in here. There it is. It's called Fourth Kingdom, or Fourth King. I just want you guys to understand the scope of, okay, this rocket right here, we're going to see the size of it.
Coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth.
Oh, I had to pause it. It started getting a little skippy. I don't know, sometimes my program doesn't always work so swell. But hey, JP, good to see you. Good to see you. I hope I didn't miss anybody that came in the chat. I might have. I hope not. Okay, we're going to start this video over. Sorry, guys. Hopefully it plays without skipping.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
All right, I have to pause it because I want to go over that verse that just went over the screen there, because a lot of people don't listen to what Daniel wrote. Okay, Daniel's giving us his testimony that he saw something, okay? He had a night vision and he saw something in this vision. And this was the fourth beast that he saw. And he says it was dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. Oops, I got to skip forward a little bit. Okay, now listen. This is what I want to talk about when I say people aren't hearing what they're ignoring what the prophets wrote. Let's pay attention very carefully what this prophet writes in just this one verse. Okay, it had great iron teeth. It devoured and break in pieces. That's exactly what it does. Okay, it launches as a rocket, and then it has stage separation, and it breaks in half. And the first stage comes back and lands, and the second stage turns its engine on and goes from there. So it does break into pieces, okay? And it does have great iron teeth. Those things are like 4 foot by 5 foot. They're huge. And then it says, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. Have you guys ever seen what happens when a rocket launches? That's exactly a description of what happens when a rocket launches. It stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Now this is where it gets even a little scary. 10 horns. Wow. SpaceX built Dragon capsules, right? Let's do, here's how I learned this. I'll just show you how I learned something very interesting about 10 horns. Commercial, what's it called again? Resupply services. Okay, I just go to Wikipedia is where I learned it. Okay, now, where is this? Or I have to do CRS 10, I think. Yeah, I did the wrong thing. Let me do that. The mission was called CRS 10, and that was the 10th mission that they had. I learned something interesting about this. Okay, this is that Dragon capsule. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I don't have you on desktop. Okay. Let's just go to CRS 10 on Wikipedia. And this, I think this is where I learned it. Maybe. Let's see here. Might not be. Okay, they built 10 of these Dragon capsules. And only 10. Because, oh, I have to do CRS 11, not 10. Sorry, guys. Because it says something about it. It says something about it in this. Okay, right here. The CRS 11 mission was the first time that a Dragon spacecraft has been reused. So that they could focus their line on the Dragon 2. They built 10 capsules, and then they reused them after that. 10. They built 10 capsules, you guys. It did have 10 horns. So that's crazy. But back to the video. Whoops, it's not. It might be locking up. Great. Oh no, I have to click this.
And I beheld another.
Okay. And it had 10 horns. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. I'll talk about that in a second. So here's the way I understand it. And it took me, now this is not my understanding. This I blame on the Holy Spirit. He's the one who showed me this. And actually, Lori, thank you for your encouraging comment. Joe, you've helped me comprehend what Daniel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Enoch, etc. are actually trying to tell us. And you know what? It's not me. It's not me helping you. It's actually these prophets prophesying from the heavenly realm, from the spiritual realm, and they are speaking before the Lord. They're standing before God. These two witnesses, which I think it could be Daniel and John, but whoever they are, it could be more than two. It could just say two witnesses, and it might be more, because I'll show you some other scriptures why I think that in 2nd Esdras, because he says, I will send you, and then he names all these prophets. But the two witnesses, they're standing before God, giving their testimony. Okay, now let me go back to the desktop and just show you something really cool. In John chapter 16, this is how I understood this is well, basically it's Jesus telling us. He's showing us right this moment. Look at this. This verse is awesome. Howbeit, this is Jesus talking to his disciples. Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. Oops. Okay, now listen. Just picture this. You have these prophets standing in the temple of God, like before the Lord, standing before him, and they're literally speaking their testimony about their visions, the things that they saw. They're saying them. Hey, Theodore, good to see you. And Terry, good to see you. Shield Watcher, if I did that right. All right, in Minnesota, nice. There ain't much Minnesota nice, but no, I'm just kidding. But just picture these prophets standing before God's throne, and God's listening to them, and they are giving their testimony, saying it, to him. But listen what the Holy Spirit does here. Okay, howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. Now this part right here is what I'm talking about. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. So when Lori says that she's learning what the prophets wanted us to understand, it's because the prophets are literally telling us by the word of God. By the word of God. And that's Jesus. So that's, to me, that's very important. Okay? Because this Spirit of truth did come. He came into my life, and he guided me into truth, and he showed me things to come. And I mean, we're reading about these things to come. So back to Enoch. We're going to go to a chapter where Enoch sees some kind of something flying in the sky, and it causes the heavens to quake and shake, and all the angels are like uncomfortable because of it, and it makes the whole heavens shake for the whole day. And it's men riding in wagons, and it was the noise from their wagons. Let's look up Enoch 57. Actually, we're going to look at 50. Yeah, we'll just go right to 57, because if I go to 56, I'll end up talking about a lot of other stuff. Enoch 56, it talks about the spirits of, or the angels. It just says the angels, I think. They shall return. And they're going to go up and tread underfoot the land of God's elect ones. That's New Jerusalem. They're going to tread it underfoot. Just like it says in Daniel and in Revelation 11 about the temple of God being trodden underfoot. that says this again. Actually, I'll just go there so I can show it to you. It's very clear. Verse 5 in chapter 56. And in those days the angels shall return and hurl themselves to the east upon the Parthians and Medes. They shall stir up the kings. Remember the kings? Remember I called that rocket a king? Because Daniel and John both said that the kings were horns. Or they saw horns, and then they were called kings. So they weren't men. Okay? They might have been kingdoms with men, but what I'm saying is that this is why I'm saying that the fallen angels are teaching this wizardry to these rocket people, these space explorers, because it's blasphemy. It's just complete wickedness. Okay, they shall stir up the kings, so that a spirit of unrest shall come upon them, and they shall rouse them from their thrones, and they will break forth as lions from their lairs, and as hungry wolves among their flocks. Right here. And they shall go up and tread underfoot the land of his elect ones. And the land of his elect ones shall be before them a threshing floor and a highway. But the city of my righteous ones shall be a hindrance to their horses. Hello, flat earth. This is one of the reasons why I think that New Jerusalem is already coming down. The promised land, the land of his elect ones, the city of truth is coming down from heaven, and it's not built with hands. It's built of people. It's built of, because Jesus said, to him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. They're part of that temple. They are that temple. But it comes down, well, I'm just here to say this. Biblical cosmology, in the time we live in, we were deceived, and we didn't believe it. And it came down out of heaven from God. And just like Jesus said, the truth is going to be made manifest. And I think it's important truth, because Paul said, if they don't receive the love of the truth, they will be damned. So I think it's something to consider. So I just want to show you in Enoch 57. It's such a short chapter, but it says so much. It says, and it came to pass after this that I saw another host of wagons. So, host of wagons. And men riding thereon. Here's the part that should make your jaw drop. And coming on the winds from the east and from the west to the south. That means they were flying. Now look at and the noise of their wagons was heard. And when this turmoil took place, the holy ones from heaven remarked it, and the pillars of the earth were moved from their place. That's not good. And the sound thereof was heard from one end of heaven to the other in one day. Now, I always go to chapter 60 here because it's clear what happened. I'll just read a little bit of this. Okay. In that parable, I'm starting right here. In that parable, I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake, and the host of the Most High, and the angels, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were disquieted with a great disquiet. And the head of days sat on the throne of his glory, and the angels and righteous stood around him. Okay. So this was actually, what it says down here, is that this was the last day of God's long suffering towards men who dwell on the earth. It says he had been merciful and long suffering towards those who dwell on the earth. And then until this day lasted the day of his mercy. So there is an ending to his mercy. And we're very close to that. I know. I mean, there's too many things that are happening in our world right now. Too many things. There's a dragon flying in the firmament, SpaceX Dragon. That should be enough to make a Christian that's familiar with Revelation 12 think. Because there's a war in heaven in Revelation 12, and it's a dragon fighting with those with Michael and his angels. Well, I'm thinking that Michael and his angels are in heaven, in the sky. That's where SpaceX Dragon. Let me pull a video up. I want to show you War in Heaven visually again on the video, and because lots of people have watched this happen. I gotta remember where I have this. Oh, I know where it is. When a dragon launches. Here, let's look at, this is kind of a cool one to look at. Oops, I think it's this one. Okay, yeah, I'll just let it play here in the background. Now that's a SpaceX Falcon 9 launching, and there's a dragon on top of it. Now it just separated. It broke in pieces, just like Daniel said, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. Okay. Now on the left is Dragon, and on the right is the Falcon 9. So Falcon 9 is going to go back and land, and when it does that, it's going to deceive the world because it can make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's in Revelation 13, verse 13. Hey, Growler Beck. Beck says, hey, Joe, it's Beck on Growler's device. Nice. Good to see both of you guys. That was a good stream the other night. So there's Dragon. Do you guys know Revelation 7? Let me pull another video because I have part of a video that we can just watch it rather than me going there and reading it. I'll bet you if you've been on my channel, you've probably seen parts of this video anyway. Maybe not the whole thing, but I'm just going to play a part of it here. Because I think one important thing to remember through all of this is that Jesus is going to return the same way he ascended into the clouds. That's what those two men standing told all those men watching him. Said he's going to return in the same manner. I'm still looking for the video, guys. Sorry. Wow. I have a lot of videos on this computer. There it is. Okay, and I'm going to have to fast forward a little bit. Actually, you know what? We're just going to watch this video. It's one of my favorite videos. I'm not trying to be repetitive. I hope I'm not. But I'll stop it when it gets to the part that I'm talking about here.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb.
Liftoff of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, launching Dragon to the International Space Station.
And he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
And stage 1 entry burn is underway. It's a burn of about 10 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
So that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Falcon 9 first stage headed back toward Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, where it launched 6 minutes, 37 seconds ago.
Stage 2 performance nominal.
And he doeth great wonders, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Okay, so we're gonna let this play. Now, you'll see there that that's John, or Daniel. John, specifically. And he told us that he saw a beast making fire come down from the sky. And that it was a miracle being performed.
The holy prophets sent his angel to show unto his servants the things which must shortly be done.
So I'm positive that the prophets saw this because they wrote about seeing it. Fire coming down from the sky. And the part is coming up here that I was talking about, the winds, okay? Because Enoch saw those noisy wagons making all that noise, shaking the heavens when they were flying up in the sky. And then there was war in heaven, and dragon was fighting with Michael. Satan was fighting with Michael, and their angels were fighting. And those angels are the ones that I wanted to point out what those angels are. The ones that Satan's fighting against, or dragon is fighting against. And it should be like coming up here in just a second.
Back in landing zone 1 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
LZ-1, the F-9 has landed. Landing operators proceed.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Godhead. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Okay, do you see that video? I'll try to grab another video to show you what this is, but this is plasma. So anytime they launch a rocket and they reach, I guess it would be orbital velocity or whatever, or maybe they don't even get that fast, but anytime they get up above the air and they're coming back in, it creates like plasma around the vehicle. And so that's what's on your screen here. This is one of the fairings with a camera in it, and the fairing's just simply falling back to Earth, and this is what it looks like as it's falling. So I'm going to rewind it just a little bit, and okay, John sees, this is Revelation 7, John sees those angels that dragon's fighting against, and they're holding back these winds, and the other angel says to them, hold up, don't let go yet until we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So just think about that, because it was given to those angels to destroy the earth, or to hurt the earth, okay?
Landing operators proceed.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Godhead. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
So that so when dragon is fighting with those angels, how long are they going to be holding on to those winds? Apparently until the servants of God are sealed in their foreheads. So what I'm trying to say is that we're living in a very important time for people to put down the beliefs that the things that they've been taught by men, and trade those things off for the things that are written in the Word of God. Because it gives understanding. If I didn't understand biblical cosmology, do you actually think that I would understand anything about these 4 winds? Would I believe any of it? Probably not. And that's why what I say is obviously nonsense to a lot of people. And I mean a lot of Christians. They think it's crazy what I say. But is it really me saying anything? I'm just pointing out what these verses are saying, and that these, again, what Lori Tillman said, she's learning what all these prophets are saying, because the reason why is because it's specifically written for the time that we live in. And I'll tell you what, I'm not trying to make you feel special or me feel special or something, but it's a very special time. And the God of creation decided it was important enough to show several men visions and dreams and, taking them up to heaven, showing them places and things, and telling these men to write these things down and to pass them along for a like in the book of Enoch, it says it's for a final generation that's far off. And in Revelation, it says these things must come to pass. It was written for the servants of God to know what must come to pass. This is specifically written for us, guys. I'm not saying it didn't mean anything to all the people that lived before us. It certainly did. But the things that are happening now are only going to happen once. Like a dragon flying in the sky. If we were able to say that we'll look back on this, we'll be able to see from, once these things have come to pass, once we're looking back on it, we'll all be able to see very clearly what was happening while we were here in these days in 2020 and 2019 and 2018. This will be a time that was so crucial for the body of Christ and the kingdom of God and the temple of God, because that's the corruptible, or anything corruptible will be no more. It's going to be there was a way that I heard it, someone said it, and I'm not going to remember the word. I'm terrible at that, but my vocabulary is not my forte. That was pretty good that I even came up with forte there. But yeah, so these 4 angels, like, this is really happening in the sky, you guys. I just showed you a video of the plume. Now, this is, let's see here. I'm going to just see if I can fast forward here. Okay. Whoops. You see these people looking up? Oops. I'll just play it. I have to play it. This might explain a little bit why I'm a flat earther. Or it does a little bit. You'll see what I mean.
Seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel which showed me these things. Then saith he unto me, See thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren the prophets, and of them which keep the sayings of this book. When he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven.
So, I'm not going to play that last part. It just says, now I'm a flat earther. Do you guys see a conflict here? When people are in 2020, when people are looking up to the sky, what are they seeing? They're seeing space. They're seeing a place to explore. They're seeing free real estate instead of Jesus. And I'll tell you what, he's coming on the clouds. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. So, I'm just want to encourage everyone to listen to his voice. Listen to the prophets that wrote the scriptures. Listen to what they said. And I mean in a very simple way. They just described something that they saw, and they were obviously describing something that was not comprehensible to them. But they could see it still, and it was doing things like stamping the residue at the feet of it and having great iron teeth. and arising out of the earth and coming up out of the earth and being lifted up from the earth and being told to arise. Like, this is all things that these beasts, all these beasts, in Daniel 8 verse 10, it says there's a he-goat that he sees that has a notable horn between his eyes, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Yes, Terry is right. The firmament will roll up like a scroll. And a lot of people think that it's God that does this. Well, God is definitely, it's his will that this happens. And it's obviously, he's in control of all of this. But he ordained it to happen. He's not going to do it. It's the devil that does it. The devil destroys the earth, and God will destroy those who destroy the earth. So get ready, Elon Musk. Get ready, all you NASA people. Shouldn't be up there. So that's it. That is all for today. Actually, this is what's happening, you guys. Enoch said that would happen too. They would sink into Sheol, and that the righteous would watch, would see it happening. Here we are. Growler, that's funny. Beck stole your phone. Usually they say something like, Beck from Oz is the best, you know. If Beck got your phone, usually the Growler would say something like that, you know. That's good. Beware, people. This is what I'm learning, is that in our hearts, we don't want to ascend into heaven unless it's the right shepherd. Okay? Because the ones that are climbing up some other way, they're false. They're liars, deceivers, thieves, robbers, and they're only they want to go to heaven their own way or whatever, just like the people that built the Tower of Babel. It's the same thing. But Jesus said, and no man hath ascended into heaven but he that came down from heaven. So they go into darkness. They're not going into heaven. They're going into a place of darkness. It's a prison. And I've actually become to know that place to be Babylon the Great. Because Babylon the Great, in Revelation 18 verse 2, it is a prison for evil spirits and devils. And unclean birds. So, a cage for unclean birds. Birds have wings. The shuttle had wings, by the way. So yeah, that's about all I got to say. I thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Lori Tillman, for that comment. It made me think a lot. It did. Let me share one more. Let me read something out of 2nd Esdras. I think it's in chapter 1, where it says he's going to send a bunch of prophets to the people that are at the end or whatever. Let's see if it's in this one. I will send to you. I'm just scrolling, finding it. Yeah, right here. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I think this is a prophecy about people that are seeing the truth right now. Okay, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 33. Thus says the Lord Almighty, your house is desolate. I will drive you out as the wind drives straw, and your sons will have no children, because with you they have neglected my commandment, and have done what is evil in my sight. I will give your houses to a people that will come, who without having heard me will believe. Those to whom I have shown no signs will do what I have commanded. They have seen no prophets, yet will recall their former state. Lori, that's what you were talking about. I'll read that verse again. They have seen no prophets, yet will recall their former state. I call to witness the gratitude of the people that is to come, whose children rejoice with gladness, though they do not see me with bodily eyes, yet with the Spirit they will believe the things I have said. And now, Father, look with pride and see the people coming from the east. To them I will give as leaders Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Hosea, and Amos, and Micah, and Joel, and Obadiah, and Jonah, and Nahum, and Habakkuk, and Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi, who is also called the messenger of the Lord. That's pretty cool. Because all those names that I just read, you guys can get current events information from those men in the writings that they wrote all those years ago. All those centuries and millennia ago. Okay? That's how God works. So, all right, guys. I love you all, and I guess we can close with Elon Musk being a little blasphemous, little whatever he is. Check this out.
Yeah.
From him and your thinking process?
I think there's certainly some similarities of opinion. I think both Jeff and I believe that it's important for the future to be a spacefaring civilization and out there, ultimately be out there among the stars. And I think that's spacefaring civilization and out there, ultimately be out there among the stars. And ultimately be out there among the stars. And I think that's.
So it was Amos 9 and Obadiah 1 where we were reading that God says, though you climb up into heaven, I will bring you down. Said the same thing to Lucifer in Isaiah 14. So we don't want to take the path that Lucifer's on. We want to follow Jesus, follow the Lamb. And so I think what that is reading his word and trying to understand, basically in a nutshell, trying to understand what God considers righteousness to be in 2020, you know? So I'm going to take off. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I had fun, a lot of fun. Hit the like button if you get a chance. And subscribe too if you're not subscribed. Subscribe, because I do live streams every once in a while and put out some funny videos. If you guys watched my last video I uploaded this morning, it's called We Destroyed That Technology. It's a good one. All right, guys. Thank you very much and have a great night.